The deep silence of space wrapped around Tom Miller's mining ship like a thick blanket. Out here in the Kuiper Belt, 20 years from Earth, the darkness felt almost alive. Tom scratched his graying beard and checked his instruments one more time. The asteroid ahead of him looked promising, rich in rare metals according to his scanners. Just another day at the office, he mumbled to himself, guiding his ship, the Lucky Star, toward the rocky mass. Working alone didn't bother him anymore. After 15 years of solo mining, he had grown used to talking to himself and the ship's basic computer. The scanner beeped unexpectedly. Tom frowned at the reading. Something metallic, too smooth to be natural, was hiding in the asteroid's shadow. His heart began to beat faster. Space debris could be valuable. Old satellites or abandoned mining equipment often contained precious materials. But as he moved closer, his eyes widened. This was no piece of human technology. The object was sleek, almost organic in design, with curves that seemed to bend in impossible ways. It was a ship, but unlike anything humanity had ever built. "Computer, full scan," Tom ordered, his voice barely a whisper. The results made him sit up straight in his chair. There was power inside, very faint, but definitely there. And something else, a life sign. Tom wasn't a hero. He wasn't an explorer or a soldier. He was just a miner trying to make enough money to retire someday. But in that moment, looking at the alien vessel, he knew he couldn't just call this in and wait for the authorities. Someone was alive in there. And out here, help was months away. He docked with the alien ship carefully, using his mining suit's magnetic clamps. The airlock cycles felt like they took forever. His hand shook slightly as he checked his suit's seals one last time. The alien ship's hull had no rust, no signs of damage. It looked almost new, yet it was completely powered down. Inside, soft emergency lights cast everything in a pale blue glow. The corridors were smaller than human standards, and Tom had to bend slightly to walk through them. The architecture was beautiful. Everything flowed together like water frozen in time. His suit's sensors led him to what had to be the ship's heart. Inside a round chamber, rows of crystal-like pods lined the walls. All were dark except one, giving off a faint pulse of light. Tom moved closer, his boots making soft clicking sounds on the smooth floor. Inside the working pod, floating in some kind of clear liquid, was a child. Tom gasped. The being looked almost human, except for the skin that seemed to shift colors like oil on water. Small, delicate, with features that reminded him of his own daughter back on Earth, the one he hadn't seen in person for 5 years. Most of the ship's systems were dead, but his suit's computer managed to interface with the pod's controls. The readings were clear. The pod was failing. Whatever kept this child in suspended animation was running out of power. In a few hours, maybe less, it would shut down completely. Tom looked at the alien child's face again. There were tears frozen on those iridescent cheeks. Somewhere, somehow, this child had been crying when they put her in the pod. He thought about radio calling Earth, about waiting for instructions. But the pod was failing now. "Well, kid," he said softly, his fingers moving over the controls his suit had translated. "Looks like today's your lucky day." He began the revival sequence, watching as the pod's liquid started to drain. "I don't know who you are or where you came from, but I promise you this, you're not alone anymore." As the pod opened with a soft hiss, Tom Miller, simple asteroid miner, made a decision that would change the course of human history. He just didn't know it yet. What he did know was that someone's child needed help, and that was all that mattered. The alien child floated in Tom's medical bay, wrapped in his softest emergency blanket. Her skin rippled with waves of blue and green, like the northern lights he used to watch back on Earth. The ship's basic medical scanner showed her vital signs were stable, but completely different from human normal. Tom could only hope he'd done the right thing. Her eyes opened slowly, 3 of them, the third centered slightly above the others. They were beautiful, like swirling galaxies in miniature. Tom held his breath as she looked around the room, her colors shifting to a pale yellow. "Hello," he said softly, trying to seem as non-threatening as possible. "You're safe now. I found your ship." The child's skin flashed with bright patterns. Tom's suit sensors picked up unusual energy readings. Not dangerous, but definitely not normal. She made a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "I'm Tom," he said, pointing to himself. "Tom Miller." He touched his chest, then pointed to her with a questioning look. The child's colors swirled faster. She raised her small hand, and suddenly the air between them filled with tiny points of light. They formed shapes. First simple geometric patterns, then more complex images. Tom watched in amazement as a star map appeared, showing a place far beyond known space. "That's where you're from?" he asked, pointing to the lights. She nodded, a surprisingly human gesture. The lights changed, showing a scene of tall, graceful beings with the same shimmering skin. They were running, scared. Dark shades chased them. Then the images shifted to show a smaller ship, the one Tom had found, breaking away from a larger fleet. "You were running from something," Tom said quietly. The child's colors darkened to deep purple, and the lights vanished. Tears rolled down her cheeks, each one glowing softly before falling. Tom didn't think twice. He stepped forward and hugged her gently. Her skin felt warm and smooth like sun-heated glass. After a moment's hesitation, she hugged him back. "It's okay," he said. "I won't let anything hurt you." Over the next few hours, Tom worked to communicate better. He rigged up his suit's sensors to project simple images, though they were nothing like the child's beautiful light displays. Through pictures and gestures, he learned that her people were called something that his ears couldn't quite catch. It sounded like music rather than words. He decided to call her Star because of how her skin sparkled when she seemed happy. Star learned quickly. By the time Tom served their first meal together, she could mimic some of his words, though her voice still carried musical overtones that made English sound like a song. She seemed fascinated by his freeze-dried mining rations, carefully copying how he ate. "More?" she asked, her first clear word in English. Her skin rippled with orange and gold. Happiness, Tom was learning. "Sure, kid." He smiled, opening another packet. "All the space food you want." As Star ate, Tom checked his long-range communications. He should report this. First contact was supposed to go through proper channels. But something about the dark shapes in Star's light pictures made him hesitate. She had been running from something bad enough that her people put her in a stasis pod and hid her away. No, he decided. For now, Star would be his secret. He'd protect her until he understood more about what was happening. It wasn't the official way, but looking at the small alien child happily eating her second helping of rehydrated pasta, Tom knew it was the right way. "Star," he said, getting her attention. "Want to learn more English?" Her skin sparkled like diamonds in sunlight. "Yes, Tom. Learn more. Learn all." 2 weeks had passed since Tom found Star. She now spoke English well enough to have simple conversations, though she still preferred showing things through her light patterns. Tom sat at the ship's controls, teaching her about asteroid mining, when every alarm on his ship suddenly started screaming. "What the?" Tom's eyes raced over the readings. Something massive had just appeared at the edge of his sensor range. The energy signature was like nothing he'd ever seen before. Star's skin turned ash gray. "They found me," she whispered, her voice trembling like a broken music box. "The hunters are here." Tom's hands moved quickly over the controls, powering down everything except life support. Maybe they could hide among the asteroids. "Star, I need you to tell me what we're dealing with. Who are these hunters?" Star created a light display between them. It showed creatures made of what looked like living darkness, their bodies constantly shifting and changing. "They hunt my people for our gifts," she explained. "We can see things others can't. Touch spaces between spaces." Her light showed doorways opening between stars, paths through the universe that shouldn't exist. They want to steal this power, Tom asked, guiding the ship behind a large asteroid. No, Star's voice was barely a whisper. They want to destroy it. They say we make the universe unstable, that we're too dangerous to live. A tear rolled down her cheek, glowing like a fallen star. The sensor beeped again. The massive signature was splitting up into smaller ones. They were being surrounded. Tom's mind raced. His mining ship wasn't built for running, and it certainly wasn't built for fighting. Star, he said carefully, I could try to contact them. Maybe if we explain. No. Star's skin flashed with red and black patterns. They don't talk. They don't listen. They only destroy. She touched the ship's wall, and suddenly strange symbols appeared, glowing with inner light. I can help us hide. But what? But if I use my power, they'll find us faster. They can feel it when we touch the spaces between. Tom looked at his radar. The hunter ships were getting closer, moving in a search pattern. They had maybe 10 minutes before they were discovered. He could send out a distress signal, alert Earth about what was happening. That was the safe choice, the responsible choice. But Tom remembered the tears frozen on Star's face when he found her. He thought about all the other children like her who might not have survived, about the parents who loved their kids so much they hid them away rather than let these hunters find them. Star, he said firmly, use your power. Hide us. I'll handle the rest. Star's eyes widened. But, no buts. You're not alone anymore, remember. Now do your thing. Your human dad's got a plan. Star's skin rippled with purple and gold, worry mixed with hope. She pressed her small hands against the wall, and those strange symbols began spreading throughout the ship. Tom felt a strange sensation, like the whole ship was somehow stepping sideways. As Star worked, Tom began powering up his mining lasers. They weren't weapons, but with a few quick adjustments, they could heat up an asteroid enough to. Yes, that might work. They're coming, Star whispered. Through the viewport, Tom could see them now. Ships that seemed to drink in the light around them, moving like hungry shadows. Good, Tom said, his fingers dancing over the controls. Let them come. You know what, Star? Humans have a saying, don't poke a bear. You know what a bear is. Star shook her head. It's a big protective animal that gets really mean when you threaten its family. Tom's targeting computer locked onto the nearest asteroid. And these hunters, they're about to learn that humans can be a whole lot meaner than bears. The first hunter ship drew near, and Tom Miller, simple asteroid miner and now adoptive father to an alien child, got ready to show these cosmic bullies exactly why you don't threaten a human's family. Tom's hands were steady on the controls as the first hunter ship glided past their hiding spot. Star's power had wrapped their ship in something like a bubble. He could still see the enemy vessels, but they seemed to be looking right through them. It wouldn't last forever, though. He could feel Star trembling beside him, her skin flickering between deep purple and gray as she struggled to maintain the shield. Just a little longer, he whispered. The largest asteroid in the area was right where he needed it, directly between 3 hunter ships. His mining lasers were charged to dangerous levels, well beyond safety limits. Tom, Star's voice shook. I can't. It's too hard. Let go on my mark, he said, fingers hovering over the firing controls. 3, 2, 1. Now. Star dropped the shield. In the same instant, Tom fired all 3 mining lasers at the asteroid. The superheated beams struck the rock, instantly heating its frozen core. The asteroid exploded like a bomb, sending superheated chunks of rock and ice in all directions. 2 hunter ships were caught in the blast, their dark hulls crumpling under the impact. The third spun away, but Tom was ready. He fired his ship's emergency flares, all of them at once, directly into the path of the damaged vessel. The magnesium flares burned with the intensity of small suns, overwhelming the shadow ship's sensors. Hold on tight, Tom shouted, pushing his engines to full power. The Lucky Star shot forward, diving through the debris field. Behind them, more hunter ships appeared, but they were confused, firing at the wrong pieces of debris. Star's eyes were wide, all three of them glowing with amazement. You hurt them. Nobody ever hurt them before. Yeah, well, Tom grinned, dodging another piece of asteroid. They never met a human miner before. We're pretty good at breaking big rocks. His smile faded as he checked the rear sensors. But we're not done yet. There's more coming. Star touched the ship's console, and more glowing symbols appeared. I can help. You showed me how to be brave. Her small hands moved quickly, drawing patterns of light in the air. My people, we can do more than hide. Watch. The space in front of their ship seemed to fold. Tom felt his stomach turn inside out as Star's power pulled them sideways into somewhere else. Through the viewport, he saw strange colors and impossible shades. We're between spaces, Star explained, her voice strained but excited. The hunters can't follow us here. They're afraid of these places. Tom watched in amazement as Star guided them through the strange dimension. Her skin was glowing brighter than he'd ever seen, patterns of light dancing across her body. She wasn't just the scared child he'd found anymore. She was becoming something more. After what felt like hours but might have been minutes, they emerged back into normal space. The hunter ships were gone. They were safe, for now. Star collapsed into her chair, exhausted but smiling. We did it together, she said. Tom checked their position. Somehow, they'd traveled several days' worth of normal flight distance. Yeah, kid, we did. He reached over and ruffled her hair, making her giggle as her skin sparkled with happy colors. That was some amazing power you've got there. You're not scared of it? Star asked quietly. Of what I can do. Tom thought about the hunters, about their fear of things they didn't understand. Then he looked at this child who, despite all her power, just wanted to be accepted and loved. Nah, he said, pulling her into a hug. I'm not scared. I'm proud. And I bet your parents would be proud too, seeing how brave you've become. Star hugged him back, her skin glowing with warm, gentle colors. They had won their first battle together, this strange pair, a human miner and an alien child. But both of them knew this was just the beginning. The hunters would be back, and next time, they'd be ready for tricks with asteroids. But next time, Tom and Star would be ready too. Because now they weren't just survivor and rescuer. They were family. 3 days after their escape, Tom was teaching Star about engine maintenance when his ship's emergency beacon picked up a signal. Another mining vessel, the Northern Light, was calling for help. Their engines had failed, leaving them stranded in the belt. We have to help them, Tom said, already plotting a course. They're only a few hours away. Star's skin flickered with worried colors. But what if it's a trap? The hunters are clever. They learn and adapt. Tom frowned. The kid had a point. Can you sense anything? With your powers? Star closed her eyes, her third eye glowing softly. Light patterns danced around her head like a crown. I feel fear, real fear, not hunter fear, human fear. That decided it. Tom fired up the engines. Then we're going. I'll be careful, but I can't leave fellow miners in trouble. They found the Northern Light drifting between two large asteroids. Its engines were cold, and 2 frightened miners were waiting in their suits by the airlock. Tom had just finished docking when Star screamed. They're here. Her skin turned almost white with terror. Many of them. Space seemed to darken around them, as 5 hunter ships materialized from nowhere. They had been waiting, hidden in the dimensional shadows Star's people could navigate. The distress call hadn't been fake. The hunters had disabled the mining ship themselves, using it as bait. Get those miners aboard now, Tom shouted into his radio as he fired up his engines. The 2 stranded miners pushed off from their ship, flying through space toward Tom's airlock. Star's symbols of power began appearing on the walls again, preparing their defenses. But the hunters had learned. Dark energy beams lanced out, not at their ship, but at the space around it. Star cried out in pain as her protective field was torn apart. The hunters were attacking the very fabric of space, preventing her from creating their escape route. "Tom," she called out, her voice filled with fear and determination. "I have an idea, but it's dangerous, really dangerous. More dangerous than those things out there," Tom asked, spinning their ship to avoid another attack. The two miners had made it inside, and he could hear them sealing the airlock. "They're breaking the spaces between spaces," Star explained quickly. "But I can use that. I can make the broken parts explode, like your asteroid trick, but bigger." Tom understood the risk. If Star tried to detonate the damaged dimensional space, it could destroy everything, including them. But looking at the hunter ships closing in, their dark energy weapons charging for a killing blow, he knew they were out of options. "Do it," he said. "I trust you." Star's skin began to glow brighter and brighter, until Tom had to shield his eyes. Her 3 eyes opened wide, all of them blazing with inner light. The space around their ship began to crack, not metaphorically, but actually crack, like breaking glass. Through the cracks, Tom saw impossible colors and shapes. The hunters seemed to realize what was happening. Their ships tried to retreat, but it was too late. Star brought her small hands together in a clap that made no sound but shook the entire ship. The dimensional cracks exploded. Reality itself seemed to tear apart and snap back together in an instant. Tom felt like his body had been turned inside out and back again. When his vision cleared, the hunter ships were gone. Just gone. Not destroyed, not scattered, simply erased from existence. Star collapsed into his arms, her skin barely glowing. Did I do good?" Tom held her close, checking her vital signs on his suit scanner. "Weak, but stable. You did amazing, kid. You saved us all." The two rescued miners stood in the doorway, their faces showing equal parts fear and awe. One of them stepped forward. "What? Who are you people?" Tom looked down at the exhausted alien child in his arms, her skin starting to shine again with tired but happy colors. "We're family," he said simply, "and I think it's time we told Earth what's really out here in the dark." Word spread fast in the asteroid belt. Within a week, 3 more mining ships had come to see the alien child who could bend space. Tom was nervous at first, but the miners proved to be more trustworthy than any government official could be. They understood what it meant to look out for each other in the darkness of space. "Tell us again about the light trick," called Bill from the heavy lifter, his voice crackling over the radio. Star giggled, her skin sparkling with joy as she created a miniature galaxy of lights in the space between the parked ships. The miners had formed a protective circle around Tom's ship, sharing supplies and stories. More importantly, they were watching for any sign of the hunters returning. Star was teaching them what to look for, the way space grew darker when the shadow ships approached, the strange readings their instruments would show. "You know," Tom said one evening, watching Star play light games with the miners' children over the video link, "I think it's time we learn more about your people, about why the hunters fear you so much." Star's lights dimmed slightly. "It's because of what we can really do," she said quietly. "What I'm growing strong enough to do now." She raised her hands, and suddenly the room filled with images of doorways that led to other galaxies, other dimensions, other possibilities. "My people, we don't just hide in the spaces between. We can connect things, join worlds that were never meant to meet. The hunters say this makes the universe unstable, but they're wrong." Star's 3 eyes glowed with determination. "We make the universe whole." As if to demonstrate, she opened a tiny doorway in the air. Through it, Tom could see Earth, not through a camera or screen, but actually see it, as if they were right there. He could smell the ocean, feel the breeze. "Star," he whispered, "that's incredible." "But dangerous," she added, closing the doorway. "If we're not careful, if we're not taught properly, We could tear the universe apart. That's why the hunters hunt us. They think killing us is safer than teaching us. Tom thought about this. So you need guides, teachers, people to help you learn control. Star nodded, her skin showing swirls of blue and gold, thoughtful but hopeful. My people had teachers, once, but the hunters killed them first. That's why our parents hid us children away. They hoped we'd find people who could help us learn safely. Just then, the proximity alarm blared. But this time, it wasn't hunter ships approaching. It was a human vessel, a big one. Government markings. They found us, one of the miners radioed. Earth Defense Force. Someone must have talked. Tom felt his heart race, but Star touched his hand calmly. Her skin was showing new colors he'd never seen before, deep, confident patterns that seemed to pulse with inner strength. "It's okay," she said. "We need them. All of humanity. The hunters are coming back, and this time they'll bring their whole fleet. We need Earth to understand to help." And she smiled, creating a light image of more stasis pods scattered across the galaxy. There are more like me out there. Other children, waiting to be found, waiting for humans to find them, protect them, teach them. Tom looked at the approaching Earth ship, then at the miners' vessels still protectively circled around them. He thought about how these rough, simple humans had accepted Star without question, had chosen to protect her simply because it was right. "Well then," he said, opening the communication channel to the Earth ship, "let's show them what humanity and your people can do together." Star's skin rippled with all the colors of hope as she prepared to meet her first Earth officials. She wasn't scared anymore. She had seen the best of humanity through these miners, through her new father, and she knew that together they could face anything the universe threw at them. 1 year had passed since Tom found Star in that abandoned ship. Now he stood on the observation deck of humanity's first dimensional space station, watching his daughter teach a class of human children and alien younglings how to safely open tiny doorways between stars. "Remember," Star said, her skin glowing with teacher colors of soft blue and gentle gold, "the power isn't about breaking things. It's about bringing them together." The children, 5 humans and 3 more of Star's people who had been found in hidden pods across the galaxy, nodded seriously. Tom smiled, remembering how differently things could have gone. When the Earth Defense Force first arrived, everyone had expected the worst. Instead, humanity surprised even itself. The miners' united stand to protect Star had touched something deep in people's hearts. When the videos of a small alien child playing light games with human children reached Earth, the public response was immediate and clear. She was to be protected at all costs. "Sir," a young officer approached Tom. "The deep space sensors are picking up hunter signatures. It's the biggest fleet we've seen yet." Tom nodded calmly. "Tell Admiral Chen to begin deployment." He turned to watch through the massive window as Earth's defense fleet moved into position. The ships were different now, modified with Star's help to travel through the spaces between spaces. Each one carried at least one of Star's people, rescued children who had grown into powerful allies. "Dad," Star called out. She was taller now, nearly 13 by human standards. "Can I show them the big trick?" "Please." Tom checked the time. The hunter fleet would arrive in minutes. Perfect timing. "Kid, show them what happens when humans and your people work together." Star gathered the children around her. Her skin glowed with deep, rich colors of power and confidence, so different from the frightened patterns she'd shown when he first found her. Together with the other alien children, she began to weave light patterns in the air. The human children joined hands with their alien friends, adding their own strength. They couldn't create dimensional doors themselves, but they had learned to help stabilize them, to add their uniquely human determination to the alien power. Outside the station, space itself began to change. The hunter fleet emerged from darkness, hundreds of shadow ships, their weapons charged. But this time, Star and the others were ready. Massive doorways opened around the hunter fleet, not to destroy them, but to show them something new. Through these windows in space, the hunters could see thousands of worlds, countless civilizations, all connected and made stronger by their differences. They could see how stars' people didn't break the universe. They healed it, bringing together what was meant to be joined. See, Star's voice rang out across space, carried through the dimensional doors. This is what we can do when we work together, when we build instead of destroy. The hunter fleet hesitated. For the first time in their ancient history, they faced not just the power they feared, but the wisdom to use it properly. Humanity stood ready to fight if needed, but offered peace first, a chance to learn and grow together. One by one, the hunter ships powered down their weapons. Tom felt tears in his eyes as he watched Star hug her students, her skin blazing with joy. From a single act of kindness, a lonely miner choosing to help an abandoned child, had grown something amazing. Humanity had found its place in the universe, not through conquest or fear, but through compassion and protection. "Dad," Star called out, "the hunters want to learn too. Can we teach them?" Tom looked at the shadow ships now peacefully approaching the station, at the human fleet standing guard, but not attacking, at the children from two species working together to build bridges across the stars. "Of course we can, Star," he said. "That's what humans do. We help people learn how to be their best selves, even scary shadow aliens who just need a better way." And in that moment, watching his adopted alien daughter prepare to teach the very beings who had once hunted her, Tom knew that humanity's greatest strength had never been its weapons or technology. It had always been its heart, its willingness to protect and nurture those in need. The universe would never be the same, and that was exactly how it should be.